in a land where paramedics patch you up, and someone selling feet pics makes triple the salary. One question remains. What on earth is happening to NHS Pay? My name is Jack, and I've worked in the NHS for almost 10 years. What I've found is that as employees of the health service, we often form our own microcosm. We spend our shifts amongst staff of varying levels, and because of the banding system, we know roughly what everyone around us is making. As the economic state of the UK worsens, many of us are inclined to be more pessimistic about our finances. This creates a strange environment where, rather than realizing how well we are doing, we fall into the trap of comparing to those around us, frequently leading to feelings of inadequacy. Today I wanted to look across the salary urinals and get an idea of how the NHS salaries actually tally up when compared to the rest of the UK, not just inside the healthcare bubble. My hope is that this will actually help you feel better about your finances and realize that you are cruising just as quickly, if not faster than the vast majority. Stick around to the end as I'll highlight some key areas where you could be getting ahead without even realizing. With that being said, sit back, relax, and let's take a deeper dive into the data. So let's start at the top. How are employees paid in the NHS? The Agenda for Change. This is the national pay and grading system used for almost all NHS staff in the UK. Everyone from nurses, paramedics, and healthcare assistants to administrative teams, therapists, and many others. Essentially, it's the framework that decides how NHS staff are paid, how they progress, and what their working conditions look like. This includes pretty much everyone, apart from doctors, dentists, apprentices, and some senior managers. The system is built around 9 pay bands, each reflecting the responsibilities, skills, and experience required for a particular role. Where someone sits within a band is called a pay point, and staff move up these points through experience and development. The bands each contain either 2 or 3 pay points, and we refer to that as entry step, intermediate step, and top step. But Agenda for Change isn't just about salaries. It also covers important protections like holiday entitlement, sick pay, and unsocial hours payments. The general idea is that the system helps make pay consistent across the NHS, so people doing the same job in different parts of the country can expect roughly the same terms. This, however, is not true for London, which has its own scales due to higher cost of living. In short, Agenda for Change is the backbone of NHS Pay, a system created to make things fair, transparent, and consistent, but one that continues to evolve as the pressures on the NHS change. Now, let's look at the NHS Pay. For this video, we will be looking exclusively at the Agenda for Change pay scales. However, I am happy to cover non-AFC staff in a future video. On screen now is a table of hourly rates based on the 2025-26 Agenda for Change. I appreciate that to many, this isn't massively helpful, so let's break down each band into their annual salaries. It is important to note that these lists include typical roles, however some positions can span multiple bands. Band 1. Now Band 1 has actually been closed to new entrants for some time now, so you're much more likely to see people in these roles on Band 2 or above. Some older or legacy roles, however, may still remain on Band 1, contracts per historical job profiles. This band previously has accommodated staff in support and non-clinical roles, particularly in housekeeping, cleaning, and basic transport/driver roles. Band 2 now supports a variety of roles, which can include, but is not limited to, healthcare assistants, porters, administrative assistants, receptionists, and catering staff. Band 3 can include clinical support workers, therapy assistants, pharmacy assistants, medical secretaries, and OT assistants. Band 4, here we find roles such as associate practitioners, pharmacy technicians, medical secretaries, and bed managers. Band 5 typically hosts newly qualified allied health professionals, such as staff nurses, newly qualified midwives, paramedics, and radiographers. Band 6, as a progression from Band 5, this is where you will find more experienced allied health professionals such as senior nurses, midwives, paramedics, and advanced physiotherapists. Band 7. Here we can find advanced nurse practitioners, ward or department managers, and clinical leads. Now I will show all of Band 8 on screen here. to save time, as it is actually broken down into 4 groups. In 8A, you will typically see the highest skilled clinicians aside from doctors, before progressing into more managerial or lead roles. Band 8B can include heads of departments, while 8C and 8D encompasses deputy director level staff. Band 9 is the top of the pay scale and is confined to the highest level managers and executive directors. Here are all of the standard annual salaries laid out together. Now let's look at some key levels of UK income. Starting at the lower wage rates, you'll see below the UK minimum wage rates in 2025. This is broken down further into the national living wage, as well as the rates for 18 to 20-year-olds, 16 to 17-year-olds, and apprentices. For reference, this is the real living wage for the UK, assuming full-time wages. This is what this income would look like, annualized. Next, we will look at the median income in the UK. The median is a statistical measure that represents the middle value in a dataset when the numbers are arranged in order from smallest to largest. This means that if you make this number, it puts you in the middle of all employees. Now please bear in mind that these statistics will never be 100% accurate, as it is not possible to line up everyone's income and compare. Every video you will watch will say something different. But for the sake of this video, I took estimations from multiple sources and then took an average for each percentile. With that being said, the median UK income is estimated to be slightly over £33,000, although this figure is higher if only taking full-time workers into account. Now, for the sake of intrigue, let's look at the top UK earners. To start, the figure, which puts you in the top 25% of all UK employees, is around £51,391. To be in the top 10% of all employees, you would need to make £72,150. Now, to break into the top 5%, you would need to make over £92,274. For those who are interested, this is what the top 1% looks like for UK employees. The income rises exponentially and would require an annual salary of over £236,000. So let's now compare these findings to the pay in the NHS. Now I won't go through each of the comparison points, as you can do that yourself. However, we will look at the median, as this is the point at which you are ahead of most people. Working at the intermediate pay point of Band 5 puts you above the median for UK income, which means that you make more than 50% of the working population. Now I appreciate that many below this band may start to feel frustrated, but let's look a little deeper into some overlooked details. Roughly 75% of working age adults are employed. This means that even by having a stable income, you are ahead of 1/4 of the population. The health service is also one of the most stable sectors to work in, which keeps you ahead. Now, let's also consider that many staff do unsociable hours. For better or for worse, this can lead to significant financial benefit. For example, I have often worked 50% of my rota in unsociable hours. Let's say that I am at the top of Band 4 with this rota type. My standard salary would be £30,162. However, with the addition of enhancements added to half of the shifts, it would actually be around £36,872. Now realistically, the payments are based on hourly work, so it would actually be more like £34,200. But you can see what a difference this makes. This would mean that in Band 4 you would be above 50% of the working population, on top of the 25% of people you are already ahead of by being employed in the first place. The next detail is the NHS pension scheme, which far exceeds the average UK private sector pensions in terms of value, security, and predictability. Now, I have made an entire video on the NHS pension, so I'm not going into too much detail here. What you need to know for now is that NHS pension benefits will drive significant returns in your future, and you likely don't even realise it. Now let's discuss the more subtle benefits of annual leave and maternity. NHS employees often receive enhanced occupational maternity pay linked to their full or half pay in addition to SMP, whereas most private sector or non-NHS jobs receive only statutory maternity pay, unless contractually enhanced. Also, NHS jobs typically provide higher holiday leave than the statutory minimum in other UK jobs, particularly when bank holidays and length of service increments are included. Finally, it is worth noting that in general, NHS employees receive significantly more generous sick leave benefits than most UK employees, with extended full and half-pay periods, immediate coverage, and structured support for both short and long-term illness. Now, please don't think that I am here to sign you up for the NHS. I'm not. But I am trying to show that there are a lot more benefits than what initially meets the eye. Now, before signing off, I would also like to express my gratitude for all those who work in the health service. The positive impact you make on the community cannot be measured on a spreadsheet. Thank you for watching this video. I truly hope that it has given you some perspective about your place in the workforce and made you feel better about your role. If you enjoy this style of video and would like to see more in the future, please tap the subscribe button on your way out. It would also mean a lot if you could drop a like and comment to help more people see this content. I wish you all the best. Goodbye.